Oh, how we doing today? Just got back home from a very exciting moment with the family. Mother went ahead and purchased a new car, so happy for her. Um, and yeah, very nice car. Hopefully, I get to drive it a little bit here and there, but nonetheless, let's get into it. Um, Temperance and sex habits is just a detrimental as intemperance and habits of drinking and eating. In this age in which we live, an age that began with World War I, intemperance and habits of sex is common. This orgy of indulgence may account for the shortage of great leaders. No one can able of the forces of creative imagination while dissipating them. Humans are the only creatures on earth that violate nature's purpose in this connection. Every other animal indulges its sex nature in moderation and with purpose that harmonizes with laws of nature. Every other animal responds to the call of sex only in season. The human inclination is to declare open season. Every intelligent person knows that stimulation in excess through alcoholic drink and narcotics is a form of intemperance that destroys the vital organs of the body, including the brain. Not every person knows, however, that overindulgence in sex expression may become a habit as destructive and as detrimental to creative effort as narcotics or alcohol. A sex mad person is not essentially different to a dope mad person. Both have lost control over the faculties of reason and willpower. Sexual overindulgence may not only destroy reason and willpower, but it may also lead to separate or permanent insanity. Many cases of hypochondria, imaginary illness, grow out of habits developed in ignorance of the true function of sex. From these brief references to the subject, it may be readily seen that ignorance on the subject of sex, transmutation forces, stupendous penalties on the one hand and withholds equally stupendous benefits on the other. Widespread ignorance after sex is due to the fact that the subject has been surrounded with mystery and beclouded by dark silence. The conspiracy of mystery and science has increased curiosity and the desire to acquire more knowledge on this verboten subject, to the shame of all lawmakers and most physicians. By training best qualified to educate youth on that subject, such information has not been easily available. Seldom does an individual embark upon highly creative effort in any field of endeavor before the age of 40. For the average person, the greatest capacity to create is between 40 and 60. These statements are based upon careful analysis of thousands of men and women. It should be encouraging to those who fail to arrive before the age of 40 and to those who become frightened at the approach of old age. Around the 40-year mark, the years between 40 and 50 are, as a rule, the most fruitful. One should approach this age not with fear and trembling, but with hope and eager anticipation. If you want evidence that most people do not begin to do their best work before the age of 40, study the records of successful people and you will find it. Henry Ford had not hit his pace of achievement until he had paced the age of 40. Andrew Carnegie was well past 40 before he began to reap the rewards of his efforts. James J. L. Hill was still running a telegraph key at the age of 40. His stupendous achievements took place after that age. Biographies of industrialists and financiers are filled with evidence that the period from 40 to 60 is the most productive age. Between the ages of 30 and 40, one begins to learn, if one ever learns at the art of sex transmutation. This discovery is generally accidental, and more often than otherwise, the people who make it are totally unconscious of this discovery. They may observe that the powers of achievement have increased around the age of 35 to 40, but in most cases, they are not familiar with the cause of this change. Nature begins to harmonize the emotions of love and sex in the individual between the ages of 30 and 40. So they may draw upon these great forces and apply them jointly as stimuli to action. Sex alone is a mighty urge to action, but its forces are like a silicone. They are often uncontrollable. When the emotion of love begins to mix itself with the emotion of sex, the result is calmness of purpose, poise, accuracy of judgment, and balance. What person who has reached the age of 40 is so unfortunate as to be unable to analyze these statements and to corroborate them by personal experience? Love, romance, and sex are all emotions capable of driving people to heights of superachievement. Love is the emotion that serves as a safety valve and ensures balance, poise, and constructive effort. When combined, these three emotions may lift one to the altitude of a genius. There are geniuses, however, who know little of the emotion of love. Most of them may be found engaged in some form of action which is destructive, or at least not based upon justice and fairness towards others. If good taste would permit, a dozen geniuses would be named in the field of industry and finance who ride ruthlessly over the rights of others. They seem totally lacking in consensus. The emotions are states of mind. Nature has provided us with a chemistry of the mind, which operates in a manner similar to the principles of chemistry of matter. A chemist may create a deadly poison by mixing certain elements, none of which are in themselves harmful. To the right proportions, the emotions may likewise be combined to create a deadly potion. The emotions of sex and jealousy, when mixed, may turn a person into an insane beast. The presence of any one or more of the destructive emotions in the human mind through the chemistry of the mind sets up a poison that may destroy one's sense of justice and fairness. In extreme cases, the presence of any combination of these emotions in the mind may destroy one's reason. The road to genius consists of the development, control, and use of sex, love, and romance. Briefly, the process may be stated as follows. Encourage the presence of these emotions as the dominating thoughts in your mind, and discourage the presence of all the destructive emotions. The mind is a creative of habit. It thrives upon the dominating thoughts fed it. Through the faculty of willpower, you may discourage the presence of any emotion and encourage the presence of any other. Control of the mind through the power of will is not difficult. Control comes from persistence and habit. The secret of control lies in understanding the process of transmutation. When your negative emotion presents itself in your mind, it can be transmuted into a positive or constructive emotion by the simple procedure of changing your thoughts. There is no other road to genius than through voluntary self-effort. People may attain great heights of financial or business achievement solely by driving force of sex energy, but history is filled with evidence that they may, and usually do, carry with them certain character traits which rob them of the ability to either hold or enjoy their good fortune. This is worthy of analysis, thought, and a meditation, for it states a truth, the knowledge of which may be helpful to all people. Ignorance of this cost thousands of people their privilege of happiness, even though they possessed riches. The emotions of love and sex leave their unmistakable marks upon the features. Moreover, these signs are so visible that all who wish may read them. People who are driven by the storm of passion based upon sex desires alone plainly advertise that fact to the entire world by the expression of their eyes and the lines of their faces. The emotion of love, when mixed with the emotion of sex, softens, modifies, and beautifies the facial expression. No character analyst is needed to tell you this. You may observe it for yourself. The emotion of love brings out and develops the artistic and aesthetic nature of a person. It leaves its impress impress upon one's very soul, and even after the fire has been subdued by time and circumstance, memories of love never pass. They linger, guide, and influence long after the source of stimulation has faded. There is nothing new in this. Every person who has been moved by genuine love knows that it leaves enduring trace upon the human heart. The effect of love endures because love is spiritual in nature. Those who cannot be stimulated in great heights of achievement by love are hopeless. They are dead, though they may seem to live. Even the memories of love are sufficient to lift one to a higher plane of creative effort. The major force of love may spend itself and pass away, like a fire that has burned itself out, but it leaves behind indelible marks as evidence has it passed that way. Its departure often prepares the human heart for a still greater love. Go back into your yesterdays at times and bathe your mind into the beautiful memories of your past love. It will soften the influence of the present worries and annoyances. It will give you a source of escape from the unpleasant realities of life, and maybe, who knows, your mind will yield you to, during this temporary retreat into the world of fantasy, ideas or plans which may change the entire financial or spiritual status of your life. If you believe yourself unfortunate because you have loved and lost, perish the thought. No one has loved truly. Love truly can never lose entirely. Love is whimsical and temperamental. Its nature is ephemeral and transitory. It comes when it pleases and goes away without warning. Accept and enjoy it while it remains, but spend no time worrying about its departure. Worry will never bring it back. Dismiss also the thought that the love never comes but once. Love may come and go sometimes without number, but there are no two love experiences that affect you in just the same way. There may be, and usually is, one love experience that leaves a deeper imprint on the heart than all the others, but all love experiences are beneficial except to the person who becomes resentful and cynical when love makes its departure. There should be no disappointment over love, and there should be none of people understood the difference between the emotions of love and sex. The major difference is that love is spiritual, while sex is biological. No experience that touches the human heart with a spiritual force can possibly be harmful, except through ignorance or jealousy. Love is, without question, life's greatest experience. It brings us into communion with infinite intelligence. When mixed with the emotions of romance and sex, it may lead us far up the ladder of creative thought, of creative effort. The emotions of love, sex, and romance are sides of the eternal triangle of achievement building genius. Nature creates geniuses through no other force. Love is an emotion with many sides, shades, and colors. The love one feels for parents or children, it's quite different from that which one feels for one's sweetheart. One is mixed with the emotion of sex while the other is not. The love one feels is truly friendship is not the same as felt for one's sweetheart, parents, or children, but it too is a form of love. Then there is the emotion of love for things inanimate, such as the love of nature's handiwork. But the most intense and burning of all these various kinds of love is that experience in the blending of the emotions of love and sex. Marriages not blessed with the eternal affinity of love, properly balanced and proportioned with sex, cannot be happy ones and seldom endure. Love alone will not bring happiness in marriage, nor will sex alone. When these two beautiful emotions are blended, marriage may bring about a state of mind closest to the spiritual that one may never know on this earthly plane. When the emotions of romance is added to those of love and sex, the obstructions between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence are removed. then a genius has been born. What a different story is this to those usually associated with the emotion of sex. Here is an interpretation of the emotion that lifts it out of the commonplace and makes it of it potter's clay in the hands of God, from which he fashions all that is beautiful and inspiring. It is an interpretation that would, when properly understood, bring harmony out of the chaos that exists in too many marriages. The disharmonies, often expressed in the form of nagging, may usually be traced to the lack of knowledge on the subject of sex. Where love, romance, and the proper understanding of the emotion and function of sex abide, there is no disharmony between married people. A little personal thing to share with you guys is that I feel like I've never really been in love. So being able to read this and see the great benefits from it only leads me to think, what it would really feel like, or, I can't wait kind of moment to really fall in love with somebody that I truly care about. And most importantly, being with someone that truly loves me, right? Not only do I want to love somebody, not only do I want to love someone that loves me, but also is willing to love our family, our kids, and whatnot. I don't want to go into too much detail, but here's a clear example of what I've actually had in my brain when it comes to love. I know that love can be harmful. I know that love can ruin many relationships, or at least partaking in some kind of love may, tear apart some relationships. But I've always thought that love in a good manner can be very beneficial to one's life, and many other lives. So yeah, that is actually chapter 11 finished. We're moving on to chapter 12 tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow. Peace tomorrow.